Hey everyone, and welcome back to Outta Here Baseball. In this video, we're going to look back at the 2004 Boston Red Sox and how they were formed. From 1918 to 2004, the Red Sox endured one of the longest championship droughts in sports history. For 86 years, the Sox endured what is known as the Curse of the Bambino, a title given to their misfortunes that references their trade of Babe Ruth in 1919. Some of the notable heartbreaks from those 8+ decades includes a run-in with Bob Gibson, the Big Red Machine, an agonizing one-game playoff, this ground ball to first base, and Aaron Boone taking Tim Wakefield deep. But things were different in 2004. Who was on this particular Red Sox team, and how are they able to finally reverse the curse? We'll look to answer these questions and more as Outta Here Baseball presents the 2004 Boston Red Sox and how they were formed. We'll begin by quickly touching on a few key moments for the Red Sox at the end of the 90s. In 1997, shortstop Nomar Garciaparra won Rookie of the Year as the Red Sox finished 78-84. At the trade deadline of that year, they would acquire Derek Lowe and future captain Jason Varitek from the Mariners in exchange for closer Heathcliff Slocum. It's easy to say that the Red Sox got the better end of this deal now, but at the time, both Lowe and Varitek were unproven in the majors. In the offseason, the Sox would make another big trade by acquiring reigning NL Cy Young winner Pedro Martinez from the Expos for Carl Pavano and Tony Armas. Pedro would finish second for the Cy Young in 1998, but in the next two seasons took home the award in stunning fashion, finishing with an ERA of 2.07 and 1.74 in 99 and 2000 respectively. And keep in mind, this is at a time when home runs were being hit at an unprecedented rate. Aside from Pedro's pitching dominance, Varitek and former first-round draft pick Trot Nixon became established starters, and the Red Sox made the playoffs twice, before dropping to an 85-77 record in 2000. This prompted the Sox to splash the cash on free agent power hitter Manny Ramirez, signing him to an 8-year, $160 million deal. That brings us to the 2001 season, where unfortunately the Red Sox continued to decline, finishing 82-79. Ramirez was terrific offensively in the middle of the Boston lineup, but most of the other offensive players struggled. Pedro Martinez was limited to just 18 pitching appearances in the season, and while the rest of the starting rotation wasn't bad, it certainly wasn't at the level of a future Hall of Famer. Manager Jimmy Williams was let go during the season, with Grady Little taking over heading into 2002. Other notable moves include the acquisition of backup catcher Doug Mirabelli and a trade with Colorado, and the free agent signing of center fielder Johnny Damon. We move on to 2002 when the Red Sox went 93-69. An 11-win improvement from the previous season saw the Red Sox back in contention with the other American League giants. Derek Lowe would move out of the bullpen and into a starting role and had a terrific 2.58 ERA, finishing third for the Cy Young, with Pedro Martinez finishing second. The offense showed improvement from the previous year as well, putting up a run differential of almost 200. Sadly, the Red Sox would miss out on the playoffs for a third straight year, and in the offseason hired Theo Epstein to be general manager, becoming the youngest GM in MLB history at just 28 years of age. Lots of players would be brought in prior to the 2003 season. Ramiro Mendoza and Mike Timlin were signed to join Alan Embry in the bullpen, while Bronson Arroyo was claimed off waivers from the Pirates. As for position players, third baseman Bill Miller was acquired in free agency, and Kevin Millar was acquired in an odd waiver claim from the Marlins, as he was almost set to play in Japan. But the biggest acquisition was the free agent signing of David Ortiz, who was released by the Twins that offseason. At the time, he was relatively unknown, and no one could have foreseen the impact he would have in a Red Sox uniform. With a new-look offense, the Red Sox were able to finish 2003 with a record of 95-67 and a wild card spot for the playoffs. 9 players hit double-digit home runs, and 5 hit at least 25, including breakout star David Ortiz, who with Manny Ramirez formed one of the most feared power duos in baseball. Another surprise star was Bill Miller, who would win the AL batting title and receive MVP votes for the first and only time in his career. The result of the Red Sox strong play was a postseason appearance against the Oakland A's. They would lose the first 2 games, but facing elimination in Game 3, Trot Nixon would hit a pinch hit 2-run home run in the 11th inning to keep the series alive. The Red Sox would win the next 2 games to advance to the ALCS and face their arch rival Yankees. In one of the best postseason series in recent memory, the Red Sox and Yankees would go to 7 games. In that 7th game, with a 3-run lead in the 8th inning, things fell apart for the Sox, and in the 11th inning, it took just one pitch for Aaron Boone to prolong the curse for another season. So after enduring another heartbreak, the Red Sox got to work building to their core of players in the offseason. Right away in November, they traded for Diamondbacks ace Curt Schilling and later signed Keith Foulke to be the team's closer. Mark Bellhorn and Pokey Reese joined the team as well, intended to be used primarily off the bench along with outfielder Gabe Kapler. And to top it off, Terry Francona was named as the team's new manager. So finally, we arrived to the 2004 season, and the Red Sox would finish with a record of 98-64. 98 wins was still only good enough for a wildcard spot, thanks to another 100-win season from the Yankees. But this Sox team was ready to cowboy up and finally reverse the curse. Ortiz and Ramirez continued to be linchpins in the offense, while Curt Schilling finished runner-up for the Cy Young Award. But before we get into the playoff run, we have to bring up one of the craziest trades in sports history that came on the trade deadline that July. 4 teams were involved in the trade, as Boston sent star shortstop Nomar Garciaparra and Matt Merton to the Cubs and received Orlando Cabrera from the Expos and Doug Mankiewicz from the Twins. The trade was filled out with a handful of prospects and Alex Gonzalez being exchanged between the Cubs, Expos, and Twins. Also, the Red Sox acquired Dave Roberts from the Dodgers, which will be important later. With the roster set, the Red Sox would go into the playoffs and sweep the Angels in the ALDS, setting up a rematch with the Yankees in the next round. 3 straight losses made things look bleak for Red Sox Nation, but facing elimination in the 9th inning of Game 4, down 4-3, and with the greatest closer of all time on the mound, the Red Sox did the improbable. Kevin Millar drew a walk to lead off the inning, and was pinch ran by David Roberts. With the whole stadium watching, he stole second base, and Bill Miller drove him in to tie the game. 3 innings later, David Ortiz launched a walk-off home run as he began to etch his name into Red Sox lore. The next day was the same story, as Ortiz won the game in extra innings, setting up Curt Schilling to pitch Game 6. His 7 strong innings of pitching with an injured tendon in his ankle has led the game to be known as the Bloody Sock Game. And with a 10-3 win in Game 7, the Red Sox had successfully completed the first, and so far only, comeback from being down 3-0 in a baseball playoff series. With the Yankees out of the way, all that stood in front of the Red Sox were the St. Louis Cardinals. After such a dramatic ALCS, the World Series was a bit anticlimactic, truth be told. Game 1 was full of excitement though, as the Red Sox won 11-9 thanks to a home run by Mark Bellhorn in the 8th. But in the next 3 games, Schilling, Pedro, and Derek Lowe combined for 20 innings pitched with no earned runs, culminating in a series sweep and giving the Red Sox their first World Series title since 1918. So after all those years of close calls and heartbreak, the curse had finally been reversed. The Red Sox reached their ultimate goal thanks to numerous headline trades that all ended up working in their favor. Add to that a couple of massive free agent signings and the unforeseen emergence of Big Papi, and the Red Sox had a phenomenal group of talent. Of the 25 players on their World Series roster, only Trot Nixon and Kevin Youkilis were Boston draft picks. 10 were acquired via trade, 9 were free agent signings, 3 were waiver claims, and then there was Gabe Kapler, who was more or less just purchased from the Rockies. While having the financial resources to sign big-name players certainly helps build a championship team, I would say in the Red Sox case, it was more of a matter of gutsy trading and the drive to win in the moment as opposed to the future. So that concludes our video on how the 2004 Red Sox were formed. Leave a comment down below on who you want to see covered in this series next, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and click on the bell icon to stay notified on all the latest Outta Here Baseball videos. Thanks for watching.